I'm in charge here. You may be in charge, but most of you is not intentionally done, because if we were in charge, would we really want to be fighting with everybody? If we were in charge, we would really struggle with money. If we were in charge, would we be single when we don't want to be single? If we were in charge, would we really stay in a job that we hated? If we were really in charge, over a decade, I would not be able to be around my parents without losing my temper, without walking out of the house and having a really, really bad time. When we behave a certain way over and over again, our minds are like, it's just amazing. It just wants to make our life easier. Anything that we keep doing on repeat, no matter what it is, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether we don't want it, whether we want it, whether, we know it or not, if we do it enough, it will be automatic. And that included my anger, because I was angry a lot, because I reacted a lot, and because I was triggered a lot with many of my relationships, especially my parents, for decades, and including all the partners I had. It was like a vicious cycle. I was angry because I was angry, and I didn't realize that the more frequent that I overreacted, the more that I blamed other people, the more that I got angry. And this all comes down to not knowing why I was angry. Yes, of course, I knew, Dad talked to me in a detrimental way, angry. My husband didn't respect me. All those typical things that we usually get angry with. Yeah, of course, I knew why I got angry, but really those are not the reasons why I was angry. I was angry because, one, I had not had the emotional intelligence. I didn't know how to process what was happening in my body, and I was completely unaware. I was driven by the anger in my body. When I looked back on the times that I was angry, it was all trivial things. At the time, because I wasn't aware about anything about the mind, where the anger came from, why my body's reacting like that, why I was triggering like that, and most of all, how this was creating my reality, was attracting more things to me to make me angry. That's why I was stuck. I was stuck in that program. But that's why I am doing these videos, to share the awareness, because the first step to manifesting your deepest desires, the dreams that you have, the kind of reality that you want to live in. And if you are suffering from a lot of anger like I did, one of those things is enjoying life. Enjoying and angry, it kind of ruins that experience, that magical feeling, right? That's why Jim Carrey was saying that I wish every single person would become a millionaire, because then they'll realize that money does not buy happiness. The happiness, the desires that we're after, is not the material stuff, not the stuff that we think it is. It has to happen inside of us first, because things like money, things like relationships, things like health, These are the biggest three things that we desire as humans. They only amplify what we are inside. So if we are angry, then the kind of love that we have in our relationship will be reflected on that anger. Maybe we'll have constant fights with our partners. Maybe we'll attract partners that are narcissistic traits because we want that fight. We are being programmed for that fight, and because we're in that cycle of fighting, of course it would only make sense to have relationships that we constantly fight with. So, but if you have with health, and you haven't healed that anger, it would affect your health as well. So, and money as well, it would affect the way that you have your money. It has a knock-on effect on everything. So that's the one thing. One of them is awareness that actually I don't want to be angry, and it's the awareness is not like money is going to stop me being angry. Finding a nice person that's not going to argue with me is going to stop me being angry, or like being my perfect body is going to stop me from angry. I'm talking about that, the awareness that in order to transform any struggle we have in our lives. Today's video, I'm talking about anger because this is what I experienced with in the past, is that I had a realization that I had to work within. So that's the first realization. It's not about trying to fix anything that outside. Oh, I wish my husband would give me more respect. I wish my parents wouldn't talk to me like that, belittling me like that all the time. Oh, I can't believe Dad said that to me tonight. It had to start with owning responsibility with my anger. This is one of the things that baffled me for so long about anger, is that I thought other people were making me angry. But it's almost like watching TV and seeing a real bad villain on there, and you're feeling angry, and then you walk up to the screen and go, how dare you? How dare you make me angry? Oh, go on, directors, can you just stop this film right now, because this character here, it's out of order. It's making me angry. It was really, really hard for me to process that at the beginning. It's like if I said to you, like, tu es un gros vache, and you're like thinking, okay, you're just a bit weird, Mel, what's that you're talking about? But I actually said, you are a fat cow, So the only reason why we get offensive is because of the meaning that's behind it. And that is the same thing when we say somebody is making us angry. It's not. It's the meaning, our perception of the situation. And we ourselves are making ourselves angry. Once I started dealing with how to process the anger within me, I didn't have to change anything outside myself. I didn't have to change my parents. I didn't have to change my husband, who I nearly divorced because I was angry. I changed as a mother. That was the most important thing as well, because I even blamed my 1-year-old daughter for not being disciplined. I mean, oh my God, that was one of the biggest things that I completely blind. It's like at the time, again, it's awareness. It's like I was blaming a 1-year-old for being a baby. I obviously didn't say that because I kind of justified my anger because, she was not doing as I wanted her to do. She was screaming. She wouldn't stop shouting. She was, like 1-year-olds do, screaming, like undisciplined and whatever. Maybe she was like the terrible twos or whatever. But without awareness of how the anger is created in my body, and that I was making myself angry, I was like a Tasmanian devil. And I really didn't realize that I was creating the problems myself. The subconscious mind is so complex, and it remembers everything in our lives. It may not communicate to us everything, but it remembers the way that we behave, our personalities, the things that we do, and whatever we have. That is all a product of our subconscious mind, our deep programming of everything that we believe in. And if we are struggling a lot, it's most likely because we have programs, multiple programs that are running on autopilot, and we have no idea that it's running on autopilot. And that's when we tend to blame the world, whether it's our family, our close relationships, people, the climate, everything going wrong in our lives, because we have no idea that how our bodies work. So, because I had no idea how our bodies work, that's why I was angry all the time. So, first stage, awareness. Because without awareness, you don't do anything. You're just, every day is a struggle. Like, he did this, she did that. How dare you talk to me? How dare she talk to me like that? Everything's going wrong. I've had enough. That's it. I'll wipe my hands. That's it now. And I go to bed angry and I hate everyone. That's no awareness. Awareness is like, okay, right. I got to take some ownership here. There's got to be something that I am doing to myself, so I'll look into it. So I just want to share something with you from learning about the mind, learning about the principles of how we work, and the science behind manifestations, which I'm sharing with you in these videos. These are all from my personal experience. I'm not saying this is the way. I am no guru. I am no, I'm not telling you this is how you do it. My intentions is for you to do your own research, to try things out for yourself, because from my experience, every single person works differently to one another. But there's many, many similarities. There's many things that I could say, or anyone can say, that your subconscious mind, or like, oh, that's the part of the puzzle I want to take. Yep, this fits this one. It is about putting the puzzle together, and the puzzle never ends. And that's the truth that I've had to accept, that the puzzle never ends. However, the more puzzle pieces that we put together, the more that we get towards the life that we deeply desire. And I remember when I first started in this journey of learning about the subconscious mind, it blew my mind when somebody said that 95% of our actions and behaviors are driven by the subconscious mind. And then it was like, really? No one, no, I'm in charge here. You may be in charge, but most of you is not intentionally done. Because if we were in charge, Would we really want to be fighting with everybody? If we were in charge, we would really struggle with money. If we were in charge, would we be single when we don't want to be single? If we were in charge, would we really stay in a job that we hated? If we were really in charge, would we blame everyone else? So going back, awareness. The second is that I realized that I had to deal with the trauma in my body. And the trauma is not what everyone else thinks, like trauma beaten to, beaten black and blue when you're a kid. A trauma could be a repetitive thing, like being shouted at, like being told, like shouted for doing something that you have no idea that you've done. That happened to me a lot when I was a child. As a child, the things that we desire is a lot of safety. Safety also is not just like safety as like loving and care. It's also security when it comes to, like, I moved around a lot when I was a child. One minute I was at home, next minute I woke up in a hotel, next minute I'm wandering on the streets. These are a lot of uncertainty, and a child needs a lot of certainty. They need to know they're going to be safe. And so even though it's not traditional trauma like sexual abuse or anything like that, trauma just means something that we have experienced repeatedly during a time where our minds didn't really know what logic was, didn't know the wares of the world, and those things affected us. As in me, I was hypervigilant, and also with an angry father, I was angry. I wasn't able to express myself because I was scared to express myself properly, just in case it was wrong. I was scared because I was being told off for things I had no idea about. Then I was scared to say that I didn't do it. Do I do it? Do I say I'd done it even though I didn't do it? Because if I said I didn't do it, I'd get punished anyway. So those are the kind of behaviors affects us as adults. The trauma in the body is things like not being able to speak. For a long time, like my throat will like tighten up. I'd get really sweaty. I would shake while I'm speaking. And then I had to, honestly, on the first few videos, I was bright red, and I'd have to meditate for about half an hour. I'd do all sorts of really funky things. It's actually quite funny if you look back on it, because I would do all sorts of woo-woo stuff, like be doing the tapping and then do some press ups, and they're like, before I'd come on the video, because I had so much, like, I don't even want to call it trauma, but that's how they call it in the medical terms. There's trauma in the body, because I'd spent most of my life, especially the beginning of when I was a child, like being programmed into a good girl, like be a good girl and you'll be accepted. It sounds so over the top. It sounds really, oh my God, Mel, you're being over the top. Especially if the older generations heard this, they're like, oh my God, you're going really over the top. But that's, I'm thinking, am I? So why do we hold ourselves back with things? Why do we get scared to tell the truth? Or why do we get nasty? These are all learned behaviors as a result of not having the awareness of how we work. So So that's the second thing I had to work on, is processing all the trauma that was in my body, because after a while the body creates the anger just by itself. I didn't even have to really be angry in the end. That's what the second part with the deep cognitive healing does. It allows us to breathe again. It allows us to see the world without the old trauma in the body. Because when I was angry all the time, when I was hypervigilant as a child, we then grow up with all those cognitive reactions, like I don't know, like somebody says something and you get really touchy. It's like, what? You know, like your body goes like that, and somebody touches you a certain way, you're like, oh, like this. Or you overreact. Someone, and they say something the way that you don't like them to say it, you overreact. You know, if you're angry, you can probably think of a million ways that you're angry, and then it's not until you calm down that you realize actually it wasn't. I don't know, maybe not aware of it, but like, again, with the awareness, you can look back and see most of the reasons why we're angry is because it's, you know, it's really trivial things. We blame the other person for not acting the way that we want them to act. And how can that be a really cool world to live in? We're saying to everybody, you can be who you want as long as it aligns with how I want you to be. What kind of world would that be if we all did that, you know? So anyway, after I did the cognitive healing, that's releasing the trauma in my body started to calm down. And then the third phase is the understanding how the body works, how the mind works, the principles are actions and behaviors. One of the things I want to help you with right now, if you are feeling the trauma in your body and you're feeling that anger rising up when somebody says something, when something goes wrong and you feel those anger coming up, one of the things that has really, really helped me was to realize that the anger is coming up for a reason, and it's not to attack someone else, and it's not to make yourself right and them wrong, and it's not because the world is against you. It's because it wants to release, and the person or the object or the situation is only a catalyst for that to be released out of your body. The anger that we experience is a compoundment and a cycle of historical trauma in the body. When I started contemplating about the world, life, you know, itself, the big question, why are we the way we are? I wondered, how come, you know, all the creatures and all life can work on autonomous, everything is synchronicity, like the plants know how to grow, the sun knows what to do, the birds fly in synchronicity, they know where to move in the winter time. We even know how to heal ourselves. So when we cut ourselves, all we have to do is clean it and it heals magically. We have a heart that pumps blood all around our body. We even heal so like incredible things, like when we go to the hospital, get operated on, the doctors may put our organs together. They may like give us blood transfusion, but who does the main work? For example, like like having a baby. We don't do it. We don't do any of it. Our subconscious mind, our bodies do that all by itself, and it's perfect. What if, just like a cut, it's just trying to heal, but we're not allowing it to go through? And the thing that we can do right now, if we're suffering from things like anger, is to remind ourselves that it's there for a reason. It's there for us to release it, and we weren't told how to release it. And do you know what? It's the most simple thing. It may be hard at first, but you are more than capable of doing it. We have been designed to be able to cope with the emotions and anger, and the only reason why it destroys our lives is because we target our anger at people, other people. And what I said on my other video, nobody likes to be a target of their anger, like this crazy nut job coming at you, blaming you for stuff that you have no idea about, because we don't know what other people are thinking. We think we do, but we don't. So the anger, instead of processing it in a healthy way, we process it by targeting to our partners, our children, our siblings, our work colleagues, our bosses, our what, and the thing is, it's sad because it literally ruins our life, and we don't realize that it's just trying to heal. The way that we can heal it, by not going to any deep therapy or anything like that. You can do this by yourself, and it's by one, realizing it's trying to release. 2, realize it has nothing to do with what is happening right now. 3, breathe. And while you're breathing, find where the anger is. My anger is always in my chest. That's where I hold my anger, and I pinpoint it. This is a technique that I've learned through my work, but you can even try and find a color of it, try to find the shape of it, try and find whether it's solid, whether it's moving around. So while you're breathing, focus on the anger, focus on that pain. While you're doing that, stop blaming. Stop blaming your partner. Stop blaming your children. Stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming the world. Stop blaming the climate. Stop blaming your kids. Stop blaming your messy house. Stop blaming. Just focus on the anger. Because trust me, this is going to transform your life. Breathe and allow that anger to pass through you, and it will pass through you. And with enough times of doing that, not only will you start feeling that the anger will start dissipating, because you're not targeting your anger at like your girlfriend, boyfriend, father, mother, son, daughter, the shopkeeper, whoever, you'll find everything around you starts transforming as well. And that, my friend, is part of manifesting your dream life.